What's up, y'all? We are back, episode 21 of the Texas Rangers Out of the Park Baseball 24 series rebuild. And we're here off-season 2030, 2031. We've made a couple moves so far. You could see a couple new additions to the team, but mostly the same. So in arbitration, we brought pretty much everyone back. We gave Steven Cruz and Josh Young qualifying offers. Cruz wound up accepting. I didn't really care if he accepted or not. I'm fine having him back at this price, quite frankly, but he wound up accepting. Josh Young declined, so he hit free agency. So Cruz will be back on a pretty pricey one-year deal, but he was awesome for us last year, so I'm not too upset. And then, one of the big problems with us last year was our base running, stolen bases. So I kind of felt like we could use an upgrade, especially in the outfield with Young leaving. So we picked up Zach Veen, who doesn't look spectacular by any means, but he has a lot of speed, can steal a bunch of bases, stole 32 last year. He's usually good for 25 to 30 steals a year, so picked him up for pretty much nothing. They retained a lot of the deal. We gave Isaac Paredes, who spent all last year in AAA, hit really well, but just didn't have a spot for him on the team. Luke Dotson, who's a 27-year-old minor leaguer, and Costa de Lemos, who's another 27-year-old minor leaguer. So they retained 80% of the deal. He's only under contract for this season. So we're on the hook for like a little over, maybe like $3 million. I guess I can get the exact number really quick, but I think it's around 3. 2.6. So really affordable deal. My plan, obviously, without any injuries, is to platoon him and Sarver. So I went into Sarver's ratings. He's very much like a platoon bat at this point. Like, hits much better against lefties than righties. So, still plays a really good center field. So basically, what I'm gonna do is Veen's gonna hit against righties, and then Sarver will come in against lefties, play center field, push Bloomer to left, but Bloomer will play center in the strong side of this platoon. So that's the offense. Nothing really else to report on that side of the ball. Pitching wise, I think this is probably the rotation we're going to roll with. We have some depth. We have Clayton Beater. We have Seth Lonsway. And I guess we could use another couple minor league arms, but besides that, I feel pretty good. We picked up this guy, Luis Frias, in a trade with Oakland. They just wanted to get rid of him, so I gave them a, whatever this is, something called a max out, a 26-year-old minor leaguer, and we took on his league minimum salary. So he'll be in our bullpen. Could give us a couple innings in relief. We have Cruz, Jimenez back. Jacobson will be back as well. So honestly, this bullpen looks pretty good. I might do a couple minor league free agent signings. It's a really good class, but unfortunately, no money to spend this offseason, really. The Cruz thing, I'm happy to have him back, but it did kind of, bump up our payroll for this season to a level where we can't really do much else. But, I guess the good news / bad news is a lot of these guys are off the books this offseason, although, it's like 2/5 of our rotation, our best player and, one of our best players and, like, our closer, our other best reliever. So a lot of things to replace this offseason. Our payroll drops down $62 million next year, though, so a ton of money to spend next season. But, this is the class that I would have wanted to have the money for. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way. You can see a couple nationals there. My computer's running weirdly slow. But yeah, Mike Trout was honestly a name that I totally would have gone after. I think it makes a lot of sense, but he wants a lot of money. It just wasn't going to work out. He's still an awesome player at this point. But we decided to pivot to Veen, just because we don't have the money for that. Marcelo Mayer, also a free agent. Aaron Nolan opted out of his deal. He's a free agent. Corbin Carroll coming off a couple like MVP type seasons. I'm not sure where he finished last year, but yeah, he's like on his way to the Hall of Fame right now. So, whoever gets him is going to have a great player as well. So, I guess we can go through awards really quick. There was some to report, not a ton. So Gold Glovers, we did have Edwin Arroyo win at shortstop. I don't think we have any reliever of the years. Nope. Silver Sluggers, we had... I thought we had someone. Never mind. Oh, yeah, Corey Seager wins at third base. We did also win Manager of the Year. Steve Crow finishes second in Rookie of the Year to this guy, Kim, who had an awesome season. Yeah, Carlos Beltran won Manager of the Year. And then Justin Lang wound up winning Cy Young just over Chase Dolander by, I guess, 6 first-place votes. You know, Dolander gave 238 innings to Justin Lang's 216. Lang was a little bit better in his innings, so I get why they gave him the nod, but Dolander was totally awesome. And then Luis Castillo gets a couple of votes down the ballot as well. I guess this guy, Vigil, 26-year-old, wins for the Cardinals. Really good season from him. And then MVP, Anthony Volpe wins in the AL. And let's see. We have Corey Seager a little bit down the ballot. We have Chase Dolander a couple spots behind him. And that's it for guys who got votes. NL MVP, this guy from the Padres, who looks like a total stud. No way they're getting rid of him. And there you go. That's pretty much the awards. A couple arbitration things here. We talked about the trades and everything. So we're going to keep moving ahead this offseason. Not too much probably in the works. I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on the trade market, but I don't know. I think this team's in good shape. Our farm system's kind of built up at this point where I feel comfortable with the guys we have coming up. I don't know if our ranking's really any good, but with Wick, Henderson, our first-round pick, the third baseman, Randy Peck, we have 3 top 100 prospects. No one else in the top 200, so we're only 16th out of 30, but I like this system a lot. And, you know, we have guys like Frank Orta, who I still don't understand. Okay, so now he's up to an 80 potential. That's not surprising, but, like, what actually changed from this 20 potential to now? Not really much. So, yeah, it makes sense that he's now an 80 potential. I expect him to move with the prospect ranks pretty quickly. He'll be pitching in rookie ball this season as a 17-year-old. Ratings are definitely there to be able to hold his own there. He was a guy we got really cheap for what his value was. Brad Snyder falls way down in the prospect rankings. I believe he was a top 200 guy last year, I think. Former 6th round pick. He was a guy we paid way over slot for. Did not have a great season in rookie ball this year. He'll be down there another season, most likely. But yeah, he falls way down. I think he was like our 3rd ranked prospect coming into the offseason, or maybe at midseason, before Randy Peck took his spot. But yeah, Randy Peck, little update on him. He was our 1st round pick, 21st overall, had a crazy season in rookie ball. I'm going to send him back there. I'm kind of tired of rushing prospects because, I don't know. I'm just going to try something different with this one, and hopefully Randy Peck works out because he looks like a total stud if he develops. Yeah, we're going to come back with an update in just a little bit. All right, so actually we have one more trade. It's December 15th now, a couple days later. I think this trade just made too much sense. We could use a little more pitching depth. So we're going to flip a couple prospects for Jake Eater, who I like a lot. Well-rounded pitcher, has a couple of really good pitches. Struck out 9 guys per 9 last year. The peripherals look really good. He's followed that over in 2 seasons. Essentially, you know, the same exact FIP. The results have been a little bit different, but I think with our good defense behind him, he could be a really quality arm, at least in the back of the rotation. He is under contract for 2 seasons, so they're gonna throw in a little bit of cash to cover this year, and then we'll pick up most of this. I think they're retaining like $1 million out of that deal for the 2nd season, but our salary opens up a lot more next year, so I'm okay paying him $12 million. We're gonna need more starters next season anyway, so this just makes a lot of sense for both this season and next season. And they're also throwing in this guy, Sincere Basilase. I'm sure he'll make the majors at some point, so I'll have to learn the name. But yeah, I mean, he's a 22-year-old in high A. Didn't hit particularly well, but Has some infield ability, but what intrigues me even more is the outfield ability. He can definitely play an elite corner, can fill in center field, but also play some third base too. So, could be a really valuable player. Has a ton of speed, good at stealing bags, good work ethic, low intelligence. So those kind of negate each other. Even if he doesn't work out, they're basically throwing him in for nothing. Also, $7 million cash. I mentioned that with the Eater thing. So we're gonna pay like $2 million net. So not bad. We're throwing in a couple, decent looking prospects. So Misaki Gillespie. He was a 13th round pick in 2026. This is before my regime, obviously. He really hasn't hit at any level particularly well. We split time between A and high A last year and just was not really good at either level. I have concerns about this. He's only a second baseman. Sure, he has good speed, but I'm not sure if he's ever going to really work out as an everyday player. So I'm cool giving him up. And then Brandon Griggs, another guy I really like, but he's a side armor. Didn't have a good year last year in high A. Not a ton of upside. He's a 4th round pick right before we took over. So I'm okay throwing him in. And we're getting, a good 4 or 5 starter here in Jake Eater, who's put up a couple really nice seasons in a row. So, and, probably a better prospect than both these guys, if we're being honest. So, yeah, that's going to be the trade. And the fans, I like that we got Jake Eater. And he'll probably slot in into our rotation, probably in our 5 spot, I'd imagine. That even lengthens our bullpen, because now we can move Cole Henry back to the bullpen. We can pitch Phil Wick out of the bullpen this season. So, it just gives us more options here of what we can do next season. We have a ton of depth here. These guys all have options. Maybe not Clayton Beater. Seth Lonsway's out of options. Yeah, okay. So Lonsway's out of options, but, the rest of these guys can all be sent up and down. And, these will be our 8, most likely. Phil Wick, Cole Henry, one of these guys will be out of the bullpen. So I really like where the pitching staff's at this point. The lineup is about probably as good as it's going to get. I wouldn't mind signing some center field depth potentially, but that's not really necessary. We can always pick up some guy at the deadline. And I do want to add Beleus probably to high A. I think he could probably play in double A, but I'll start him in high A just because he didn't do too well last season there. And there you go. I really like how that trade works out for us. It does cut our money down significantly, so we'll have to, lower our development a little bit, lower our scouting. I'd like to keep at least like $7 million. That's a good number. Hopefully our owner raises our budget a little bit so we can keep these numbers where they are, but if we need to, we can drop those budgets a little bit. So, we'll keep moving forward, see if there's any updates to come, and we'll be back. All right, so I finally got my laptop up to speed. I'm not really sure what I did, but it feels like it's running a lot quicker. So this should be, it's been really hard to get through this off season. It's been like 3 hours of recording. So Rule 5 draft is today. I don't think we're going to do anything here. Our 40-man's pretty full. We don't have a ton of holes in the roster. Everyone should be protected. Yep, so we're good to go. We'll complete draft. And anyone interesting? Dylan Carlson is taken, age 32. I just want to go over Mike Henderson, kind of his story really quick, and how he's gotten to this point. So my scouting only goes back to 2028, just because, we hired AJ Preller, I believe, at that point. I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, he was a 2026 14th round pick. And, it was kind of a nothing prospect down here. He went down to a 20 potential at one point. But it slowly gained a little velo. He's put 2 miles an hour on his fastball. The control has gone way up from a 40 to a 55 potential. The movement potential has gone from a 30 to 50. And the stuff, has gone up as his velo's increased. So, yeah, Mike Henderson's a legit prospect at this point. Don't see him as a starter, unfortunately. But he's durable. I think as a reliever, that fastball could totally play up, and it does, according to our scout, and could be a future closer for us. We'll see, but yeah, I'm going to keep him as a starter for now. I don't really plan on keeping him. I mean, fastball, changeup, sinker is just not not really, it's not a recipe for success as a starter, and he doesn't really have an out pitch. It doesn't make a ton of sense to make him a starter long term, but you know what? I'm even going to change him right now. I'm going to lock him into a reliever. And then I feel comfortable promoting him to AA at this point. Oh, actually, he's on my 40-man now. So we'll put him on in the Major League roster. But yeah, going to keep moving forward here and come back with an update. All right, so international free agents have just, we've wrapped up our portion most likely. We have $50,000 left, but don't think I'm going to do much. We went quantity. Mauricio de los Santos, we got him pretty cheap, $300,000 for him. A guy with a bunch of pitches. Who knows? Maybe he works out. Maybe he doesn't. Good build, too. 6'5", 185. We picked up this guy, Luis Campaverde. Kind of same story. A little shorter, but, these are dart throws at the end of the day anyway. So, and then we also signed, this was kind of our big get, Ismael Veliz. Got him really cheap. Relatively, $2.65 million. Could be a really good corner outfielder someday. And then I believe we got one more guy. Yes, we got Andreas Ceja, 17-year-old corner outfielder. Looks pretty decent. So those were our 4 guys that we picked up. And I guess we can go through some of the free agent signings. Because, there's a ton of movement with former guys that we've had. So we'll go through some of the big deals, I guess. Mitchell Milano we had last year. Miliano. He signed pretty decent contract. 3 years, about $8 million per. Let's go to the big ones, though. So, oh, man. Josh Hader signed. We had him last season and parts of the season before. And then, oh, man. So many names here. Holy crap. Okay, the guys that we're looking for are coming up soon, hopefully. And if not, I'll just look them up. So yeah, Josh Young signed with the Houston Astros. We got a first-round comp pick for him, so really good value there. He signs a really nice contract. Good for him. And hopefully he works out there as their left fielder. And then a couple of monster contracts go out to a couple of former Nationals players. Marcelo Mayer, an 8-year, about 33 per average annual value. Yeah, I don't know about the value for that contract, but he's coming off a couple awesome seasons. Did have the one stinker year, of course, with us, but besides that, has been a really good player the last few seasons. So I'm sure he'll work out for them. And then Aaron Nola, the other guy, the other big name that was signed this offseason. He goes to the Red Sox on a 2-year deal worth about $28 million per. Really good value for that. A true Iron Man who does not miss starts and is like a Cy Young caliber guy. So that's a great deal for Boston. If I had the money, I would have offered him that. But fortunately, we did not this season. So, yeah, we'll keep moving forward in the offseason. Come back with an update. All right, so we're right before opening day here. We have one move to make. We have a bit of a bullpen crunch. So Freddie Pacheco is unfortunately the odd man out. He's had a couple of really nice years for us, but he's probably the worst pitcher ratings-wise in our bullpen. So we're going to move him for Jimmy Shelton, who's an interesting enough prospect, former 12th-round pick. Looks like he could be a second baseman in the future with a good eye. Not dissimilar to our current second baseman, Herman Ortiz, if you just want to compare those two. So, yeah, I mean, it's, a roster spot, basically, that we just traded away. Unfortunately, it had to be him, but... this guy Shelton's not even, doesn't have to put him on the 40-man, so that's sweet. We'll put him in AA probably to start the year. And there we go. We'll kind of go over the roster and who made it. Last cuts, obviously, he was one of them, but yeah, the rotation looks pretty similar to what we would have expected. Dolander, Allen, Castillo, Eater, and Phil Wick, who didn't really have a great spring or anything, but the ratings have definitely come along. I'm just going to throw him in, see what happens with him. Bullpen, Cruz, Jimenez, Henry in the back end. Henry's stamina dropped to a 35. So we're going to put him in the bullpen to start the year. If he needs to make some starts, he can. But I prefer him in the bullpen. And then Jacobson, Frias, who we got from Oakland this offseason. Mark Church, who's been a longtime member. Well, I guess just the last 2 seasons. But, he's been around this team for a little bit. And then Evan Reifert, who we got at last year's deadline. He gets a bullpen spot. And Seth Lonsway, guy out of options, was fine last year in AAA as a starter. We're going to try him out of the bullpen. Another guy who could flex out as a starter if we need him. And then in the lineup, pretty much what you'd expect. I didn't do the backups and everything. But, yeah, Zach Veen had a really good spring. He'll start as our leadoff hitter against righties. Then against lefties, we'll have Sarver in there. And, the bullpen. This is not the lineup. I should probably do this right now, actually. So I think I'm going to put Sajasi in the cleanup spot. I think it makes a lot more sense. I was batting him second the last few seasons, and, he's a good second hitter, but I think he's more valuable as a cleanup guy, a guy who can drive in some runs. So our 2-hitter, I think it's going to be Hermano Ortiz, maybe Edwin Arroyo, Eric Bloomer. Eric Bloomer makes a lot of sense. He batted second a lot of last year as well. So it'll go Veen, Bloomer, Seager, Sajasi, then probably Stone Russell, then Arroyo, McCall, Ortiz, Crow. I think I like that. Ortiz can get on the bottom of the order, spin around to the top. And against lefties, probably be a pretty similar lineup. Let's go through that really quick. So the only difference is Chris Sarver will slot in. Maybe I'll just play Sarver in left. I think Bloomer actually could be a better center fielder just because of his speed. Last year out there he was pretty good. Sarver was also really good out there. So maybe we'll give Sarver the inside track on that. Move Bloomer to left. And then the lineup will probably go. Let's see. I like McCall kind of in the leadoff spot. Good eye. And then maybe Seager, Sajasi, Russell, Bloomer, or Arroyo, Ortiz, Crow, Sarver. Seems pretty decent. Brock Daniels will be your CPU utility guy again. Don Cohn will back up the infield. Looks like he lost a little bit of range this offseason. And then Veen and Sarver will split the other outfield spot. Cal Raleigh makes the team as our backup catcher. Got to add him to our 40-man. He was a minor league guy we signed. And, let me do the backups and everything. We'll come back for opening day against Detroit. All right, let's hop into opening day here. 2031, we're going to be against Detroit. And top prospects, Mike Henderson moves all the way up to number 20. Again, I don't really see it long-term for him. But, we'll hold on to him. And he's going to start the year in AA. Could be up to AAA very quickly, though. We're going to pitch him as a reliever, as mentioned. Then Phil Wick drops to number 30, but that's probably due to international guys coming into the market. And then Ismael Velez, who we signed as our international, the big free agent signing that we had. He's number 76. Randy Peck, slides back to number 80. Again, probably mostly due to the new guys coming in. And then Sincere Bezales, the guy we got in the trade this offseason for Jake Eater. He's going to be number 194. And then, Frank Orta, way down here. He's back to a 20 potential. Don't get it, but whatever. We're going to get a scouting report on him. But let's go preseason predictions really quick, then we'll jump into opening day. Texas Rangers expected to win the division, 88-74. Looks like the stolen bases are much improved this season. We're tied for the third best team in the AL, so not bad. Top hitters, so JC slots in as one of them. And then top pitchers, Dolander's here. That's about it. In the NL, Nationals fall all the way down to 87 and 75. They had a ton of losses this offseason. Looks like they didn't do a ton to supplement that. They brought in Matt Olson, but the rotation is totally rough. This guy's interesting. I got him in a trade with Miami. I guess they didn't do that bad, but Brian Woo's their ace now. Cannon Handy with an 8.72 ERA with them last year. Looks like, yeah, they locked him up to an extension. I thought they were going to have Namala at short, but looks like they brought in this guy, Pat Hoover, Rule 5 pick. But yeah, I mean, still look like a good team, so. Did I draft any of these guys? Luis Montez is the guy I brought in. Rafillo is a guy that I also brought in years ago. So yeah, there's the Nationals, and let's check in opening day. Dollander on the mound, and we win 5-0. Nice day for the offense. Seager, Bloomer, Veen getting it done at the top, and then Crow a couple hits. McCall drove in a run. Dollander 8 shutty past Alon's way, who closes it out. So game 2, Logan Allen will be on the mound. And we lose 5-3. Looks like Allen wasn't great. Reifert gave up a run. Frias was good in relief. JC 3 hits. Stone Russell a couple hits. But only 3 runs total. So we look for, I guess this is the third game in the 4-game set. Luis Castillo on the mound. We lose 10-8. 2 runs in the top of the ninth for the Tigers. Stone Russell drove in 3, so JC a couple RBIs. Not a great start from Castillo. The bullpen a little shaky. Cruz gives up a couple. So we look to split the series here with Jake Eater making his debut for the Rangers, and we lose 8-3. So really rough series for the pitching. It's like 6 runs in the top of the 7th for them. Eater was really solid, but Cole Henry gave 4 runs. Fries gave up a couple. Reifert gave up another, and then yeah, that leads to our loss. So we start the year 1-3. Not an ideal start after a opening day win, but yeah, Seager had a really good series. He's batting .529 through 4 games. So still 4th in runs scored, 15th in runs against. So we got to figure that out. But yeah, hopefully this normalizes and we'll be okay this year. But not a great start. But yeah, this is a wrap of the episode. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.